Alright, what's going on, guys? Seasick Warrior. Here we're going to start this guide on how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So, start off, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game where you're designed, your aim and goal is to reduce your opponent's life points to 0. So, the way I think about it is I use an analogy, a war analogy. So, I think of Yu-Gi-Oh! As a game of war. So, in war, you have a general. This general commands his troops, uses everything he has at his disposal to defeat the enemy. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, the primary objective is to defeat your opponent, like in war. And how do you win? By reducing your opponent's life points to 0. So the war analogy is that you're using your soldiers to take out your opponent's life points. So 3 things we want to introduce are monsters, spells, and traps. So first thing we want to introduce is monsters. So monster cards are what they say, monster cards. Just think about them as soldiers in your battle. These soldiers have the ability to inflict damage on your opponent and cause harm to their life points. So soldiers are your main force that is used for victory. Obviously there's other ways that can be used for victory, but you primarily use your soldiers or your monsters to defeat your opponent. So supporting these soldiers are what I call spell cards. So spell cards are spell cards that generally assist your soldiers in battle. So these can be things that can help them out, that can make them more powerful, that can defeat some of your opponent's monsters. Really, think about them as assist cards to your monsters. Finally, we have these things called trap cards. So trap cards are like what they say again, they're traps. Instead of assisting, it may be used to surprise your opponent. It may be, you can trap them somewhere that they don't expect. Again, that's what it means by traps. So to defeat your opponent and reduce your life points down to 0, you would use a combination of monster cards, spell cards, and trap cards in coordination to reduce your life points to 0, and this is how you would win the game of war.
Alright, now since I've actually introduced what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, I might as well tell you guys on how the steps and rules of the game work. And I'm going to do this by giving a live demo on how a normal game would proceed and the phases that are involved. So in a normal game, first step of a real turn is to draw a card, and that's called the draw phase. So now we have our draw phase. Let's look at our cards. And let's proceed to main phase 1. Main phase 1, you're allowed to summon monsters, you're allowed to set spells, you're allowed to activate spells, you're allowed to set trap cards. You're not allowed to battle because that's for the battle phase. So during main phase 1, let's say for example it was my turn, I would summon this monster, and I would set a face down, and that would be end of main phase 1. Proceed to battle phase. During battle phase, I can battle. So, for example, I can use Giant Rat to attack the opponent's monsters. If Giant Rat has an attack points of 1400, if Giant Rat's attack points is higher than the opponent's attack points or higher than the opponent's defense points, it would win the battle and may inflict damage to the opponent's life points. And once the battle phase is over, we proceed to main phase 2. During main phase 2, you still have the right to summon monsters during main phase 2. However, in our case, we can't since we're very normal summoned. You can special summon if you have an effect that allows you to do that. In our main phase 2, for this specific example, we'll just set a face down card. And after main phase 2, we would proceed to the end phase, and then it would become your opponent's turn.
Alright, that's basically how you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Those are the main objectives. Those are the steps of how you would normally play in a traditional game. It's a lot more complicated than that, if you want me to be completely honest with you. Usually the step that gets a lot of people is the monsters. There's like, yesterday's game, back in the day, it was just a few types of monsters, but today's game, there's like 10 different types of monsters, and, it's gotten a lot more complicated. So those are the main basics. If you have any more questions, please let me know, and thank you guys for watching.